Okay, so in the production of this film, we did not mean to disrespect anyone's graves or any dead people.
We apologize to Dolan if this offended them in any way.
Or other
We're
family
sorry.
members. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, we're good. Let's go!
Here today, we learn the lessons that this poor man has learned throughout his civic mirror experience. He is now weeping over one of his dead family members' graves. It all started on auction day. This day a party was formed who teamed up in a binding contract to buy hexes to monopolize the economic state of the Democratic Republic of Sparta. This man was in that corporation. This monopolization of the economy soon led to another bias party formed, who wanted to put an end to the corporation. After a crisis vote in the year 2001, the second party was taking over. They established a seemingly new and good government, and for a while, all was well. That is, until legislation day came around. The corporation had a plan, one that would end all life as we know it. This poor man pressed the button that ended it all. However, at the last second before chaos, God stepped in and saved the day. The energy hex was brought back and given to the government. An emergency court case was made, and Ben Williams and Evan Wood were tried for treason. Found guilty, Evan paid his dues, but then a court case was later brought up to put an end to the corporation for attempt at mass genocide. Many members were found guilty, as charged and banished, but still allowed to keep their status points. The Prime Minister swooped in and made an executive order to banish all affiliated with the corporation. This poor man was to lose his status points. However, later on in the library, Will, a great justice of the Supreme Court, found it unconstitutional for the Prime Minister to do this. Nowhere in the Constitution that she made had it stated that she could make an executive order, and after this order was made, the nation collapsed. Now, Alec, I know this is very traumatic for you, but what did you learn in the civic mirror experience?
Well, firstly, I would like to say that the number one thing I learned is to trust no one with your actions but yourself. If I hadn't put my faith in other people's hands, I wouldn't be here mourning over my dead family member today. I learned this firstly when I was in the corporation, and I had my 2 cents in, but no one would listen to what I thought was best, and the decisions were partly mine. Secondly, was when I was promised immunity if I was to testify against the corporation in the year 2001. However, as the trial went on, I was not called to the stand, was accused of many things and punished and found guilty. Why do you ask me these things? You took part in this too, didn't you?
Yes.
And what did you learn?
Let's walk.
I remember when I was a young lad, I was a House representative in the country of South Compton. I learned many things, but the one thing that impacted me most was the qualifications of leaders. My party failed to control the government. We only had 2/5 of the House and 1/3 of the Senate. Our party voted in some of the most devoted and knowledgeable people we could, while the other party, quite obviously, voted in pawns of their party to do their biddings. I've learned that for a country to prosper, first thing a leader must have is knowledge in economics and government. I know this from experience because of the infamous price ceiling debate that was entirely unnecessary.
Well, that's South Compton for you.
And took up precious time. Some of the less qualified leaders in the Senate and the House believe that the price ceilings were meant to be set above the equilibrium price, when in fact, by their very definition and purpose, they must be set below the equilibrium price. Unfortunately, many ill-formed government members voted the price ceiling bill down because we were uneducated or ignorant on the subject. This led to the collapse of our very economy. Just as my peers and I had expected, the prices shot up because they had no price ceilings to prevent it. Sadly, this resulted in many deaths because citizens could not purchase their necessities. Our country learned the hard way that the country relies on the leaders, and when the leaders are less than qualified, people's lives can suffer. Now we are live at the scene with Reece Watkins, another poor man who was involved with this horrific incident. Reece, what has this event taught you?
This act by our corrupt, malicious dictatorship run by Kyla showed me that no matter what, if you're a fair and honest citizen, the government still has complete control. Also, I learned that when it comes down to it, all people think for themselves, whether it's to build their hidden agenda or to benefit for what they want, and not what other people want around them. I learned this all throughout the civic mirror by every person I interacted with. It was seen whenever I made a business transaction. The person would reason with me, or whenever I offered something, they would try to twist it to their favor, and for them to fit their needs more than mine. I even wanted to succeed more than others, and I'm also a good example of this because I created a corporation. This is probably the most important thing I learned in the civic mirror.
Yes, yes. As sad as this story is, there is much to be learned from it. I believe the most important thing to take away from this story is how to be the best citizen you can be. Because all this could have ended well if there had been a few more model citizens to step in and take action when they knew their country was about to suffer. Alas, no one stepped in to protect the country, to make compromise when they saw tension. So remember, be the best you can be, and be involved in the government to leave an impact to better your state. On that note, good night, Civic Mirror, and enjoy the rest of your night.